You know, folks, one of the first videos that I ever did on the MeidasTouch network was talking about January 6th. And in that video, I talked about the difference between a protest and the difference between what happened on January 6th. And I said, a protest is the voice of the unheard. I've actually repeated this several times in other videos over the years because we keep circling back and talking about January 6th. And I want to drive home this point to anyone who tries to compare what happened on January 6th to what was happening in 2020. A protest is the voice of the unheard. Okay? So in 2020, when people were protesting police brutality, they were doing so because their voices hadn't been heard. They had spent years trying to tell us what was going on in their communities, and no one was hearing them. I'm not over here condoning the violence. I'm not over here condoning all the looting that took place, but that was the voice of the unheard. What happened on January 6th was not the voice of the unheard because those people cast their vote in a free and fair election and it didn't go their way. And rather than accepting the truth after losing 60 times in court and being told there's no evidence of fraud, Donald Trump goes out there, double down, triple down, quadruple down on the conspiracy theories until he got his followers to go to the Capitol. And ever since that day, we have been gaslit nonstop. And we have watched them go back and forth on this subject. And now they've found a new lie. I started the show saying, hey, this administration does nothing but lie. So we're going to now go to their newest lie, which is that the FBI agitated that day. They didn't do it. That was FBI agents in the crowd agitating people and getting them worked up. And here's Mike Johnson on Jake Tapper lying. Take a look.
Do, and they have to hold people accountable. We have to ensure that the rule of law applies to everyone. And that's exactly what's happening here.
Does the rule of law have to apply to people who stormed the Capitol on January 6th?
Well, I'm glad you brought that up. There's new information over the last couple of days about that as well. Apparently, there were 274 FBI agents in the crowd on January 6th.
No.
I think the total number of persons
Kash Patel just brought some enhanced understanding to that. They were sent there to do crowd control because of everything that was going on. It wasn't a false flag operation, as President Trump suggested.
Well, Jake, wait a minute. Hold on, Jake. How do you know that, right? There's a lot
of
questions,
what Kash Patel
brand new questions about, well, and I'm telling you that there's videos and it's always been disputed what involvement some of those persons, engaged in, what involvement they had. Did they spur on the crowd? Did they open the gates to allow them in? I don't know. These are questions, but they should be answered. And yes, there's a lot of investigation and discovery to go forward. We have a select subcommittee, bipartisan, a committee that is reviewing the investigation of the original J6 committee. I mean, a committee investigating the previous committee. Why? Because there was so much bias in the system. And that committee was rigged, I think. And I think my theory is, I've always believed that they got rid of evidence and they hid some of this. So all of it's going to come out. The American people deserve full transparency.
Full transparency, 100%.
And that's what Congress is working on, and that's what the administration is working on.
I'm always in favor of full transparency, including,
so
including for the Epstein files, which that will probably come on the floor of the House.
Me too.
Soon, and we'll have lots of discussions about that. Speaker Johnson, always good to have you here. Thank you so much, sir.
I got to be honest with y'all, I'm not the biggest fan of Jake Tapper, but I do appreciate him getting the Epstein files jab in there at the end. But folks, every time I bring Mike Johnson clips up here, just know that it is going to be a master class in gaslighting, and that's what they're trying to do by now saying, oh, there was agitators in the crowd. But this isn't actually a new theory. There's been people saying that for years. It's been disproven. And even if there were, I'm just going to say there wasn't, but even if there were people that agitated people into doing something, people still broke the law. So if someone agitated you or got you worked up and you broke a window, you're still going to pay for that window, regardless. Doesn't make no difference. And I'm just never going to buy into their bullshit when they have went back and forth on this so many times. I remember on that day them saying, oh, well, first of all, let's start back at the beginning. First of all, when they had the event on January 6th, that had never been done before. We had never seen an event like that on January 6th, and I guarantee you most people didn't even realize that that was the day that the election results get certified. But it became an event because of Donald Trump's lies. And there were people on social media saying they were going to go up there and overthrow the government. They thought they could just take a vacation day and go overthrow the government, come back home, and everything will be okay, which in the end, they all ended up getting pardons for it. So they were kind of right, but they literally thought, oh, we could just overthrow the government. Then when it didn't go their way, they tried to say, oh, it was Black Lives Matter, it was Antifa, it was agitators in the crowd. But anytime you talk to them, you'll get them, you could just pull up any hoop you want to, they'll jump through it. No matter which way you move the hoops, they'll jump with you. Because eventually you'll get them to say, oh, we had every right to, that was our house, that was our capital, we had the right to storm it. And they have turned these people into folk heroes. They have absolutely turned these people into folk heroes, just like they're doing with other people that never deserve to be mentioned as a folk hero. But that's what they're doing. They're completely trying to rewrite history. And we'll bring you up a clip here of Ty Cobb. And no, not the baseball player. This guy worked with the Trump administration the first go-around between 2017 and 18 as part of the legal team. And here he is just saying it. They're rewriting history.
Well, I think if you go to 30,000 feet, what you see is a lot of moving parts, but simple themes. The simple themes are rewriting history. Trump wants to rewrite history so that the next generation may not know that he incited a violent insurrection, refused to peacefully transfer the power of the presidency after losing an election, stole classified documents and showed them to friends and guests at Mar-a-Lago, and that he was a criminal. I mean, he's a convicted felon. Anybody involved in those events that offended him, they're in real danger. So you have the rewriting history stuff. The U.S. attorney that he appointed as personal lawyer, Lindsay Halligan. Her role previously in the administration was trying to eliminate the theory that America had slaves at the Smithsonian. She was there to whitewash the Smithsonian and paint America as something that it isn't. I mean, America needs to learn from the mistakes and lessons that we've had, and one of the biggest mistakes that America ever had was re-electing President Trump.
I really do believe that the re-election of Donald Trump will go down as the greatest mistake in American history. And I do believe as time goes on, more people will realize it. I really do believe there will come a day, it may not be anytime soon, but I do believe, and we may not live to see it, but I do believe there will come a day where there will be people that will deny they ever voted for him or ever supported him. Because now, folks, the ball is completely in his court. He's got everything he needs. He's got immunity from the Supreme Court. He's got them in his back pocket. He's got the Senate, got the House. He's got everything. And he still can't deliver on his promises. And we're starting to see MAGA fall apart. Now, I've said that before, and people's like, Brando, they're still hanging in there together. Yeah, but this is different. They're falling apart now because their excuses will never add up. Nothing they say now as we go forward is ever going to add up or make sense. You got to understand, these people are conspiracy theorists. So they're going to dig into anything. And you can't really out-conspiracy theory a conspiracy theorist. So if you try to cook up something for them, they're going to take that and run with it. And I really do believe as time goes on, you're going to see more and more people walk away from this as they realize, because the first go around, they could say, well, he didn't get to finish the job. And then they stole it from him. They took it from him. He didn't get to do what he said he was going to do. Well, now this is his chance. And if he blows this, he blows the whole thing. And trust me, he's going to blow the whole thing. But as long as I have oxygen in my lungs, folks, I will never sit here and let them gaslight us on January 6th. We saw what happened. If that wasn't domestic terrorism, I don't know what in the hell was. But that's what that was that day when they brought a noose to try to hang the vice president, when they kicked down the doors, when they beat up police officers. That was straight up terrorism, right on our nation's capital. And if you look at all the flags that was flying in that crowd that day, there was more Trump flags and Confederate flags than there were the American flag, and that tells you everything you need to know about them. They're not dedicated to America. That's not what they're about. They're about Donald Trump and his hatred. and they always will be, and we're never going to let them rewrite this narrative. They may be in control at the moment. They may have complete control. They may be able to come out and say anything they want to say. But we knew what happened. We saw what happened. And if this video stands and years from now, my great-grandchildren are looking back on this time and saying, Pap, what happened? Trust me, you were gaslit into believing anything different than those people went to the Capitol that day to overturn an election because they bought into a bunch of lies from one of the biggest criminals in American history.